You are a junkie. In this video, I'm going to explain to you why you're a junkie, why your friends are junkies, why your mum's a junkie, why your grandma's a junkie, why everyone right now is a junkie. And the reason for that is we are receiving constant stimulation 24 hours a day. You don't believe me that you're not a junkie? Okay, right now, sit there, watch this entire video, don't scroll to the comments, you can't check your phone, you just have to sit here and watch a video for 10 minutes or however long this is. For most of you, you won't be able to do that. You will be literally frothing at the mouth, sitting there like, I need stimulation, I need something else, I need something more. Because apparently watching a YouTube video isn't enough stimulation anymore. We are constantly receiving stimulation 24/7. And the reason for that is on the 29th of June, 2007, Steve Jobs cured boredom. Boredom, which was just a fact of life for the past million years that humans have been alive for however long it is, right? For the millions of years that we've evolved, we have experienced boredom. As of the 29th of June, 2007, we stopped experiencing boredom because it was the day that we put a supercomputer in our pockets that can access the depths of the internet, any stimulation that we want at all times. We now have algorithms that are literally designed to give you the exact content that's going to provide you as much stimulation as physically possible. And if it's not stimulating enough, you just move your finger up slightly and you'll get one that's hopefully more stimulating. And you can effectively watch 1,000 micro movies condensed to 10 to 30 seconds in an hour. And you can do this whenever you want, all the time. What do you think is going to happen when we do this? Well, it's not really any surprise that we have no attention span, that we can't stick on a task. You can't even sit here and watch a YouTube video for 10 minutes because we're constantly seeking ways to provide us more dopamine, to provide us that little extra hit. Go out. This is a little experiment that you should do. Go for a walk or go to a restaurant, just do whatever you're doing. Just observe on your day-to-day. How many people do you see are not looking at their phones, are not just with their necks down looking at their phones? And the people that aren't, you're like, oh, wow, that person's really in the moment. That person's got some massive headphones on blasting music to get some stimulation. The amount of people that are genuinely just sitting presently in the moment and not experiencing any form of stimulation from their technology is almost zero. So we're now at a point where it's pretty difficult to find someone who's not in some way finding some way to stimulate their brains. It's almost impossible. And the reason for this is that when you consume things like social media, things like playing video games, things like watching movies, watching TV, is that it releases dopamine. And when it releases dopamine, your brain is essentially telling you, that was a good thing that you did. I want you to do more of that. So what do? You want to do more of it to receive that same feeling, to receive that same level of dopamine. So what you're going to end up doing is just spending more and more time on these things that provide dopamine. And what happens when you receive these irregular spikes in dopamine all the time because of how easy it is to get now, is that your brain is going to go, this doesn't seem right. This doesn't seem normal that you're receiving this much dopamine. I'm bringing your dopamine down for everything. Every single task that you do is going to produce less dopamine. So then what happens when you go back on your phone and you go to scroll social media? Well, it produces a little bit less dopamine. So what do you have to do to compensate? Well, you have to watch more. Or you have to find something that's more stimulating, more enticing. And what happens is you find things that produce more dopamine, more stimulation, and then your brain has to bring it all back down because it's not normal. And all that happens is you're in a perpetual cycle of consuming more and more and more and destroying your dopamine receptors so that you're not really receiving dopamine from anything other than really highly stimulating things. So now you're in a situation where basically the only way I can get dopamine, the only way I can get joy out of life is doing something that produces a lot of stimulation. And that's why you see people walking around all day staring at their phones all the time. It's because that's the only way they receive dopamine. That's the only way they receive stimulation. And they've told their brain, they've reinforced themselves to keep doing it over and over and over again. If you guys are enjoying this, if you would like to learn more, I have a completely free course on how to dopamine detox, how to get these stimulating things out of your life. If you would like to learn more about that, you can check it out at school.com/modernmonk. I will leave a link in the description below. Otherwise, keep enjoying the video. Now, the second big issue as to why you are most likely a junkie, why we're constantly feeding off all of this stimulation all the time, is that there's such an ease of accessibility. You have all of this stimulation, everything that you need to give your brain to get that spike, to get that little hit. It's literally in your back pocket. Smokers, for example, if you're really addicted to a cigarette, you at least have to go outside now, or you have to, separate yourself from another person to smoke a cigarette. But if you're just trying to get a hit, like a little scroll on your phone, you just pull it out of your back pocket and it's right there. The ease of accessibility is unbelievable. You literally have access to the entire internet, to all of the most stimulating, all the highest dopamine things that you can possibly do, and you have it in your back pocket. And there's no restrictions on it. There's no one saying you can't do it. It's just there. It's literally just there. It's so easy to access. And that is why we're becoming so addicted to it, because it's not just that we have to go out and we have to put in some effort to get this stimulation, to get this dopamine. It literally just happens by pulling something out of your pocket. And you'll notice for a lot of people, if you try this experiment, take out your phone and just change the order of the apps on your home screen. So how you have like a list of apps on your home screen and they're in certain locations. Just change the location of those apps. What you'll find is that you actually get thrown off a little bit, because you have almost created an automatic pattern of receiving dopamine where you go, okay, I need dopamine, hand in pocket, hand out, face ID phone, unlock it, swipe up, access my phone. And then I have a muscle memory for exactly where that app is, like TikTok or like Instagram, where I can get that dopamine quickly. And it's like a quick reaction, like phone out, face ID, swipe up, click that, dopamine. It's literally there. It's so easy. It's so accessible. And when you change the order of that, your brain is going to be like, oh, what's going on? What's happening? I can't get my dopamine straight away, because it's ingrained into your system. It's hardwired into you. If I want dopamine, if I need dopamine, it's so easy to access. I need to do 4 actions and get me right there. And that's how you know you're addicted. When you have literal muscle memory to get you to an app to receive dopamine. And the third reason why we're getting so addicted, why everyone is turning into junkies, is it is socially acceptable. Me using the word junkie to describe this behavior is taboo, but really it's just a definition of what's happening. We are addicted to something, and it is affecting our lives in quite a poor way. But for some reason, you're not a junkie because everyone else is doing it. Because it is socially acceptable to scroll TikTok, to be on social media all day, to go home at night and spend a few hours watching Netflix. Because all of these things are seen as socially acceptable, people don't really bat an eye at it. They go, well, it's just what everyone else does. Like, what's wrong with it? My cousin does it, my brother does it, my parents do it, my grandparents do it. Everyone in my circle does it. So it's just a normal thing to do. It can't be that bad, right? TikTok has been around for less than 10 years. It's really only been popular for about 6 or 7. We have a term, TikTok brain, to describe the lack of attention, the literal destruction of your brain from using that app. And it's been around for less than a decade. We don't understand the consequences that this is going to have on us, because it's just not been around for long enough. We haven't had this level of stimulation in society for that long. We really don't know the outcomes. It's like a big social experiment, but everyone is doing it. So we think, well, it's just normal. It's just how it's always been. The reality is, it hasn't always been like this. We haven't even been able to receive dopamine, to receive any form of dopamine without some sort of achievement until the last century, really. It was effectively impossible to receive dopamine without achievement. Now, you can receive more dopamine than you can from nearly anything else in the world by sitting on your ass, pulling a supercomputer out of your pocket, pressing 2 buttons, which is already inbuilt into your brain as some sort of muscle response, and just instantly get dopamine. But it's socially acceptable now. Everyone does it, so it must be normal. The reality is, it's not normal at all. It is completely going against how we were built as humans. But we continue to do it because it's easy, because it's socially acceptable. And the final reason is that we have literally wired our brains for failure. We have wired our brains in a way to guarantee failure. It's quite sad to think, but for nearly all of us, we've wired our brains in a way to guarantee our failure. And let me explain to you why. Let's say you were God, right? You were creating a human. I'm telling you, okay, God, I want you to create me a human, and I want you to guarantee me that they don't succeed, that they don't progress forward in their life. They stay the same, they become addicted, they become lazy, they don't do anything. What would you as the person creating this person do? Well, you would probably give them things that are going to distract them, things that are going to stimulate them, things that are going to be in the way, be obstacles from achieving their goals. Then you would wire their brains in a way where all they want to do is interact with the objects that are getting in the way of what they're achieving. You want to get it to a point where the only thing they want to do in their life is these things. And you want to continuously reinforce the behavior of making this thing, making these obstacles that get in your way, the most enjoyable part of their lives. And the more they consume this, the more they don't want to do the things that move them towards their goals. And that is literally what we're doing. We're consuming these short form social media content, we're playing video games, we're watching TV, we're releasing dopamine, okay? So when we release dopamine, our brain is saying, good job, do more of it. It's reinforcing that behavior. So what do? We continue to do more of that. And because we do more, because we're receiving so much dopamine, our overall dopamine levels go down. And what happens when our overall dopamine levels go down? It makes it more difficult to do the things that move us towards our goals, to do the most difficult things. And what have we done? We've just reinforced us to do the things that get in the way and made it as hard as possible to do the things that get us towards our goals. We have wired our brains to guarantee failure, to guarantee that we won't achieve our goals, that we won't achieve anything. And it's not just like it's a few people doing it. It's everyone. Everyone is doing this right now. And I honestly think the easiest way to get ahead in life, to get ahead of other people, is just by objectively looking at what we're doing to ourselves, what we're doing to our brains, and saying, this isn't right. This actually doesn't make sense. What if I removed all of that artificial, all of that achievement-free dopamine from my life completely? What if I wired my brain to win? What if I wired my brain in a way that it reinforces me to do more of the behaviors that move me towards my goals? And I don't even have these obstacles in my life. I've just removed them completely. That is how I would wire someone to guarantee success. If you wanted to build a person and say, I want to guarantee this person is successful, you would probably remove all the obstacles, all the barriers as much as possible, and you'd probably build their brain in a way where they enjoy working towards their goals. They're positively reinforced every time they work towards their goals to do more of that. That is how you would wire your brain to win. And that is why we right now, as a society, are wiring our brains. We're literally rewiring our brains to guarantee that we lose. That is why everyone in your life right now is a junkie. That's why you're probably a junkie. Let's not be junkies, right? Let's live a life that's purposeful, that's meaningful, that moves us towards our goals. Let's avoid all of these temptations, all of these distractions, all of these things that are moving us away from our goals. If you like this video, then please subscribe. This is a new channel, so if you'd like to be an OG, if you'd like to jump on board, then I would much appreciate it. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video.